Some say that if you understand this film, you grasp the intricacies of China's bureaucracy and the nuances of its societal relations. In the waning years of the Qing dynasty, amidst political turmoil, a brutal 14-year civil war erupted between the Qing government and the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, inflicting deep wounds on the Chinese nation. This conflict led to a staggering reduction of 100 million in the Qing dynasty's population, a number even surpassing the combined death toll of all nations involved in World War II. Welcome to Oriental Frames. Thank you for your watching and subscribing. In a hellish-pitched battle, the Qing army was completely annihilated. A general named Pang Qingyun hid beneath a pile of dead bodies, narrowly escaping death and emerging as the sole survivor. Emerging from the pile of the deceased, Pang Qingyun began his journey as a fugitive. Due to the ongoing war, many were displaced and fleeing for their lives. As Pang Qingyun trudged along alone, perhaps due to days without food, he collapsed from exhaustion. Fortunately, he was rescued by a woman named Lian. When Pang Qingyun regained consciousness, he cried in Lian's arms like a child, lamenting his mere existence by the skin of his teeth. Perhaps Lian's maternal instincts were stirred, or perhaps, in these tumultuous times, both souls yearned for emotional solace. They found comfort in each other's embrace. However, by dawn, Lian was nowhere to be found, having quietly departed. Subsequently, Pang Qingyun sold his weapons and armor. He had heard that relief grain was being distributed in the area, so he settled down to wait. At that moment, all he wanted was to live the life of an ordinary citizen. Returning to the imperial court was out of the question. After all, with all his soldiers gone, he had lost his honor and face. At this time, a bandit named Jiang Wuyang, leading a group of men, arrived. After distributing some grains, he intended to muster men to raid military supplies. Jiang noticed Pang's shoes, which appeared to be military boots. Wanting to take them for himself, this led to a confrontation between the two. Unsurprisingly, Jiang Wuyang was no match for Pang. Somewhat bafflingly, Pang Qingyun found himself turned into a bandit. Not long after, Jiang Wuyang enlisted him for a raid on the Taiping army's food supplies. In the chaos of the battle, Pang, with his wealth of battlefield experience, naturally knew the strategy: first capture the leader. They secured the much-needed food. On their return journey, Pang removed his military boots and handed them to Jiang Wuyang, never uttering a word throughout. Upon arriving back in the village, Pang saw the villagers awaiting their return, greeting them as if they were heroes. Without these bandits, the villagers would surely have starved. Here, he unexpectedly encountered Lian, the woman he'd spent the previous night with. As it transpired, Lian was the wife of the bandit leader in this village, Zhao Erhu. When Lian was young, she was sold to become a Yang Jothan horse, young girls from destitute families during the late Qing dynasty who were sold off and groomed to be minor wives for wealthy men. At the brink of her being sold into this life, she was rescued by her childhood friend, Zhao Erhu. As a result, he had to bear the weight of taking a life, which forced them into a life of banditry. Yet, this wasn't the life Lian had yearned for. The naive Zhao Erhu mistakenly believed he was her savior. Having reclaimed the food, the villagers were preparing for a grand feast. However, out of the blue, a troop of official soldiers stormed into the village, looting what they had. The food they had fought so fiercely for during the day was effortlessly taken away. Though they felt deep resentment, the vast disparity in strength left them no choice but to swallow their anger. In these tumultuous times, the law of the jungle was the only rule for survival. At this moment, Pang Qingyun stepped forward, persuading everyone to enlist in the army. By enlisting, they would receive military pay. With the pay, they could purchase weapons, and only with weapons could they ensure the village's peace. Coincidentally, an official from the Qing army, named Chen, was currently short of manpower. It was an ideal moment for them to offer their services, like sending charcoal during snowy weather. However, considering the villagers were originally bandits, and Pang Qingyun had been part of the imperial side, his proposal raised suspicions. Jiang Wuyang then proposed that they present a pledge of allegiance, or a tumingzwang. This ancient practice symbolized loyalty. Typically before joining an organization, members would jointly commit a murder, ensuring mutual complicity and binding their fates together. The three made their pledge, establishing a brotherhood bound by life and death: the eldest brother, Pang Qingyun; the second, Zhao Erhu; and the youngest, Jiang Wuyang. Subsequently, the three brothers, with their troops, went to meet the three high officials of the imperial court. They were Lord Jiang sitting in the center, Lord Di, and Lord Chen. Among them, Lord Di had more power and influence than Lord Chen. The soldiers who had looted the village's grain earlier were under Lord Di. The former general, upon returning with his troops, should have been welcomed. But when they learned there were only 800 men, the three officials all chuckled, clearly looking down on them. Due to the previous defeat, Pang Qingyun was eager to prove himself and boldly promised to retake a city occupied by the Taiping army in just 10 days.
15日之内，我攻下数城，军中无戏言。10日攻下数城。
Of course, Pang Qingyun knew he was taking a gamble, but he was desperate for an opportunity to rise to prominence.
我再给你1500精兵。
Upon their return, they began to organize their equipment. However, these weapons and firearms were all broken and unusable. Furthermore, the general under Lord Chen said, "I can only offer you a show of force. If my 1,500 men are lost, Lord Chen will have Northwest voice in the court. 800 against 5,000, and they had to capture the city within 10 days. With only 200 functioning firearms, they had no choice but to fight to the death. There was only one way to win.
要赢只有一个办法，豁出去破他的枪阵，贴过去跟他斗狠。
寡众悬殊，胜负已分，天浩荡，投降便可免你。
This was bound to be a fierce fight. Pang Qingyun needed a few soldiers up front to draw enemy fire, which was tantamount to a suicide mission. Jiang Wuyang bravely volunteered to lead the charge. Although the three men fought valiantly, they were up against enemy forces 6 times their size. With their numbers dwindling rapidly, they found themselves cornered. At this critical juncture, the general under Lord Chen, observing from afar, noticed the enemy's formation was in complete chaos and saw an opportunity. He decided to lead his troops into battle. The tide of the battle swiftly turned, and at a tremendous cost, the three brothers succeeded in capturing Xuqing, achieving a significant victory. After the Battle of Xuqing, the attitudes of the three lords changed drastically. Lord Chen's gamble had paid off, and politically, he overshadowed Lord Di. Subsequently, Lord Jiang assigned an additional 5 battalions to Pang Qingyun. Lord Di, watching his political rival's success, sought ways to counter Pang Qingyun's influence and proposed positioning his subordinate, He Kuei, in such a way that Pang Qingyun would lead the siege, and He Kuei would take over afterward. This move highlighted the fierce political rivalry between Lords Di and Chen, with Lord Di holding more substantial influence. Lord Jiang, of the Manchu ethnicity, was dispatched by the imperial court to oversee the battles, maintaining a neutral position in the midst of the rivalry. Pang Qingyun expanded his forces from 1 battalion to 6. In the presence of the 3 lords, Zhao Erhu boldly proclaimed,
先取苏州，再打南京，怎样？
The 3 lords burst into hearty laughter. Afterwards, Pang Qingyun explained,
仗打完了，他们赚什么？他们是不会让我们打苏州的。
那我们打，他们管得了吗？
安插刽子营，就是为了监视我们。
Due to the expansion of their military strength, their subsequent campaigns were overwhelmingly successful. However, what was truly irksome was that after they did all the hard work in battle, Kuwait would simply take over the city. They didn't benefit at all from their efforts. As the saying goes, having connections makes it easier to be an official. Without a backer, they could only do the dirty work. After capturing the city, General Pang Qingyun implemented strict military discipline and sentenced soldiers who committed rape to death. He was a principled and idealistic military leader. On the other side, Lord Chen and Lord Di were playing chess. Although everything seemed calm on the surface, in reality, they were probing each other's intentions. Taking advantage of the moment, Lord Di warned Lord Chen, thinking of conquering Suzhou with just a few thousand men is overestimating one's capabilities. If you really help the imperial court exterminate the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, you'll surely become disposable afterwards. However, Pang Qingyun decided on his own to launch an assault on Suzhou. Unexpectedly, the walls of Suzhou were high and thick. After a year of continuous fighting, they still couldn't breach the city. The war reached a stalemate, and Pang Qingyun had overestimated his own capabilities and underestimated the strength of the Taiping army within the city. The 3 elderly lords pretended to be unaware of his assault on Suzhou and refused to send them provisions. Left with no choice, Pang Qingyun approached Kuwait and decided to make a deal. While this deal was being finalized, Zhao Erhu secretly infiltrated the city to persuade the opposition to surrender. By this time, Suzhou was also running out of food, and the streets were littered with the bodies of those who had starved. It turned out that Zhao Erhu's entry into the city was facilitated by a Taiping general. The general's intent was to allow Zhao Erhu to end his life in exchange for the lives of the citizens of Suzhou. If the general didn't die, the entire population of Suzhou would starve. Before his death, he made 2 requests: allow his soldiers to return home and farm, and not to humiliate the city's residents. With tears in his eyes, Zhao Erhu agreed to his conditions and persuaded the city, which had resisted for a year, to surrender. Thus, the Qing army captured Suzhou. Yet, a new challenge arose.
4000个俘虏，4000张嘴，你想动用多少军粮喂饱他们？4000人拒绝收编，打南京，这苏州城就是空城，你放心把这空城交给他们吗？大哥，你听我说，这4000人拿起枪就是兵。你看这馒头，本来是我们兄弟要吃的，你要分一半给这4000人，再分一半给这城里的百姓。兄弟们围城围了9个月，饿了9个月。你说，这馒头是给我们还是他们？
Without food, this group of elite soldiers would collapse at any moment. In desperation, Pang Qingyun made the harsh decision to execute all the prisoners of war, tarnishing Zhao Erhu's reputation as a traitor. While Zhao Erhu understood human emotions, he was not skilled in warfare. On the other hand, Pang Qingyun might understand human nature, but he was more versed in the art of war. This move was tactical. This incident of executing the surrendered troops from Suzhou was based on a real event. It also led to the UK suspending its support of weapons and military training to the Qing dynasty. After the incident, Zhao Erhu proposed to take his men and revert to their old ways, becoming bandits again. The brothers earnestly pleaded for him to stay. Subsequently, they also captured Nanjing, the capital of Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. Perhaps due to the prior incident of executing the surrendered soldiers, Zhao Erhu, wanting to vent his frustrations, took it upon himself to distribute the military pay to the soldiers without authorization, which was a grave offense in the eyes of the imperial government. Depressed, Zhao Erhu found solace in drinking and watching plays. During this vulnerable moment, Kuei came along to further sow discord between the brothers, making Zhao Erhu even more disoriented. Jiang Wuyang inadvertently witnessed a Lien secretly meeting with Pang Qingyun, uncovering their illicit affair. Later, owing to his success in capturing Nanjing, the capital of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, Pang Qingyun was summoned by the Empress Dowager Cixi. Despite the fact that the campaigns against Suzhou and Nanjing were contrary to the intentions of the three lords from the military council, they were nonetheless victories and thus meritorious. For Empress Dowager Cixi, these triumphs greatly bolstered the interests of the ruling class. She saw potential in Pang Qingyun and had intentions of nurturing him as part of her power base, hence she showed him significant favor. The most crucial point was that, with this endorsement, the Empress Dowager Cixi effectively became Pang Qingyun's protective shield in his future official career. Pang Qingyun was only one step away from skyrocketing to great heights. Unfortunately, while Pang Qingyun was a brilliant military strategist, he was also an idealist with virtually no political acumen. This act directly challenged the interests of Empress Dowager Cixi and the entire court, both civil and military officials. Even if there was to be a tax reduction, it should be initiated by Cixi. Having recently achieved military success, Pang Qingyun used his accomplishments to pressure Cixi, in front of all the officials, to promise tax relief. This act shattered Cixi's trust in him. Just moments ago, they were close like a monarch and a loyal subject. Now, he was an outsider. Suddenly bereft of his protective shield, Pang Qingyun, who was the center of admiration just seconds ago, now stood on the brink of disaster. Subsequently, the court, citing lack of trust, disbanded Pang Qingyun's troops. Furthermore, they used Pang Qingyun to eliminate Zhao Erhu, thus taking away Pang Qingyun's right-hand man.
你兄弟赵二虎在苏州说要走，结果呢？一呼百应，在南京又私分朝廷军饷，你擅自言行赵啊！
Actually, it's not that the court couldn't tolerate Zhao Erhu, but they couldn't tolerate Pang Qingyun. Meanwhile, inside Nanjing City, Zhao Erhu also considered retiring from his military career as he disliked the life there. However, he received a sudden message that indicated he Kuei was planning to assassinate his elder brother, so he rushed to rescue him immediately. Unfortunately, all of this was part of Pang Qingyun's plot to assassinate him. Zhao Erhu anxiously searched for his elder brother Pang Qingyun's figure on the outskirts, only to be met with arrows in the darkness. Despite being shot multiple times, Zhao Erhu still believed that it was he Kuei who had fired the hidden arrows. Sensing something unusual, Jiang Wuyang discovered Pang Qingyun's intentions to eliminate Zhao Erhu, believing it was solely because of a Lian. He naively thought that by killing a Lian, his elder brother would no longer be in danger. Unfortunately, he was too idealistic. The following day, Pang Qingyun officially assumed the position of the governor-general of the two provinces. On that day, heavy rain poured down as Pang Qingyun moved step by step towards his new role. His lifelong ideals and aspirations were on the verge of being fulfilled. Just then, Jiang Wuyang emerged from the pouring rain and attempted to stab Pang Qingyun. However, Pang Qingyun was more skilled and proved to be too much for Jiang Wuyang to handle. Just as Pang Qingyun was about to take his seat as governor-general, he was struck by a distant sniper's shot. The praying mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Pang Qingyun believed that his sacrifice for the country's righteousness would be recognized, but in the eyes of the court, he was merely a pawn. Since his meeting with Empress Dowager Cixi, Pang Qingyun found himself on a path of no return, no matter what he did. Jiang Wuyang only wanted to uphold the pact and used a dagger to pierce Pang Qingyun's chest, while the bullet from behind put an end to his lifelong pursuit of ideals and ambitions. He was nothing but a sacrificial pawn in the political struggle. This movie is based on the real-life assassination case during the waning years of the Qing dynasty, portraying the intricate political struggles and complexities within the imperial court. It provides a profound reflection of the societal realities of that era. Some believe that understanding this movie helps to gain insights into the workings of China's officialdom and its underlying principles. No voiceover can replicate the charm of the original film. A great movie deserves to be experienced in its full plot. Thank you for your watching and subscribing.